Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are residing on this beautiful planet of ours. And welcome to this week's Soul Fan special, the week ahead astrology. So it's just awesome to see so many of you here already. I mean, the chat is just going wild. So fantastic. Let's just see how we all are and how we survived last week's full moon in Aquarius, because it had strong energy. And I don't know if those of you in the United States and Canada are aware of the big super yacht, big kind of billionaire's yacht that sank off the coast of Sicily, sadly, last week, losing, I think it was 7 people died, including the owner and his daughter. And that, I think, was very much to do with this full moon. And it's interesting because I think in the full moon there was a sense that things could be a little bit distorted or underhand, or things may come to light further on down the path to indicate that secrets are being kept, truths are being kind of withheld, and sometimes accidents are given a helping hand. Now, I say that because the Italian authorities actually have launched a manslaughter inquiry into the sinking of this yacht. If you actually want to Google it in America, it's called the Bayesian, and it was a massive ocean-going yacht that slept about 22 people. And the captain of the vessel survived, and of course he is being questioned now by police. So that, I think, and it actually happened on the morning after the full moon. So it happened in the early hours of Tuesday morning in Europe. I just think it's super interesting. We also, of course, had the volcanic eruption in Iceland. And remember, Uranus rules Aquarius. The full moon was in Aquarius. Uranus was aspected in the full moon. And I think it kind of, that also has come from that. And it's caused some toxic gases to be floating across Northern Europe, in particular the United Kingdom. Yes, I'm just seeing what Annabelle Sapphire has written, that you found the whole story incredibly strange. As that's right, Mike Lynch, his business partner, was knocked down by a car on the same day and killed whilst out jogging, like 4 o'clock in the morning. Is that a coincidence or a synchronicity or what? And this billionaire, Mike Lynch, had just been acquitted of a very big legal case to do with fraud by Hewlett Packard. So there was a lot of interesting kind of side stories to feed into any conspiracy theories that the conspiracy theorists may want to look at. But certainly the whole thing was it was a little bit, I don't know, it just didn't sit well, doesn't sit well or float well. Now, somebody asked me in the chat last week or over the weekend whether we have a 9th planet. And we had a little bit of a discussion on the chat on I think it was an Astrobite that it was on. And one of you suggested the 9th planet was Pluto. And I said, no, it's not, it's a dwarf planet. And then I remembered, actually, Pluto is the 8th planet. We have 8 planets in our solar system. And a 9th planet is potentially there, but it is so far out orbiting the sun that astronomers have not yet been able to confirm its existence. What's interesting is there have been lots of rumors about a ninth planet. Sometimes it's called Planet X, sometimes it's called Nibiru. So there have been lots of interesting kind of stories about the ninth planet. I'm seeing Susan Fabian there. You're saying it was no accident. I'm not going to say either way, but it certainly does bring up some interesting questions, and it will be interesting to see how this one unfolds. So this ninth planet, if it exists, would probably be called Gliese, Gliese, because it's in the Libra constellation, it's a red dwarf star, and it hosts a planetary system which is far enough away from Earth and our sun to potentially fulfill the role. And I'm probably getting some of the science wrong here. But I did look up the meaning of the potential name that would be given to this ninth planet. And it means Gliese, Gliese, that you're a person with huge energy, good in planning and supervising. And even if you were just a garbage man, you would be the chief garbage man. And I just thought that was quite interesting. And it's also, if it exists, it's in the sign of Libra at the moment. So there we go. Who knows? Is there a ninth planet? Let me know in the chat. Its gravitational effects, and I'm just picking this up off Google, could explain the peculiar clustering of orbits for a group of extreme trans-Neptunian objects called ETNOs, and they are bodies beyond Neptune, beyond the Kuiper belt, where Pluto is, that orbit the sun at distances averaging more than 250 times that of the Earth. So that is what I found out and dug up about this potential ninth planet. And I see some of you are now going into Monty Pythonisms. Oh, I love Monty Pythons because nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Anyway, I just throw that in, and moving swiftly on. What is this week going to be like? Well, if you watched my Astro Bite for the morning, you will know that we had fairly interesting energy today. We had energy that looks a little bit like a kite formation. And this kite formation for Monday, the 26th of August, gives a sense of something taking off. So what do you have in your life, or in what you are wanting to intend to bring into reality, to take off? Because what you could perhaps say to yourself is, wow, why has the universe allowed all of this wonderful manifestation to come true for me? Why am I able to take off with all these new ideas and make them a reality? Because that brings it into the present. If we ask it as a question, it brings it into the present and says it's already happening, which is what we have to look at. Nick is asking, is anyone hit by the Pisces eclipse? The Pisces eclipse, actually, and I can tell you exactly the degree it's at, and because I've been looking ahead to September and I've lost it, but I will find it in a minute. So the Pisces eclipse, and oh dear, we have to go back there. We have to go into September, because you're saying your moon's in Pisces. My moon is in Pisces at 10 degrees, but the eclipse is at actually, it's conjunct Neptune. It's at 25 degrees and 47 minutes. So if you have a sun or a moon in Pisces around, say, between 23 and 29 degrees of Pisces, then this lunar eclipse, this full moon lunar eclipse, is going to affect you. But I will be talking about that in a couple of weeks' time, because next week, remember, I will be talking about the new moon, which happens on the 2nd, 3rd of September. And next week, remember, I'll be doing the live on Sunday, because that's the 1st of September. So it'll be the live for the month ahead, the overview for the month ahead. So coming back to our, let me see, where am I going next? I'm going to, today is the 26th, and it's this chart I want, which looks like a kite. There we go. So the energy today is really quite interesting. Gemini is where the moon is. The moon has just moved into Gemini. It's just moved off being conjunct with Uranus. Now, this can bring or have brought over the last, let's say, 12 hours, a bit of anxiety, a bit of ruminating, a bit of seeing things out of proportion, a bit of fretting, a bit of worry. That energy is going to dissipate as the moon starts to progress through the sign of Gemini. And the moon, when in the early hours of this morning, was actually making a beautiful trine to retrograde Pluto in Aquarius. Now remember, next week, on Monday, the 2nd of September, so Sunday, Monday, Pluto will retrograde back into Capricorn. This is big stuff, big stuff. And so next week's show on Sunday is going to be really packed with extraordinary information. So the energy today, kind of as the day goes on, improves, so that by now, if you woke up with a little bit of kind of anxiety or just fretting or worrying, that should dissipate by the end of this show, because you will have had so much positive input and the ability to see the positive and feel inspired by the astrological energies of this kite formation in the sky, helping us lift off with our ideas and be inspired by our inspirations. So let's now actually move on to what else is happening this week, because I've actually got quite a lot to talk about this week. So we have the moon in Gemini today, but there's no particular aspect other than that moon that just for about an hour or so was trining Pluto. And once again, apologies for the adverts that may pop in every now and then. There's nothing I can do about it. I have it on very moderate kind of levels, but I can tell because I can see it in the bottom left-hand side of my screen when an advert is likely to be slotted in. You might not experience it. It might just be on replay. I don't know. So, Jem, you're really nervous about Pluto going back into Capricorn. Don't be, my love. This, between next week, September and November, we will have the most wonderful opportunity to tidy up anything that has outworn its sell-by date. This is the time to really kind of knuckle down, put some structure into your intentions, have more faith in yourself, have faith that the divine has your back, that you are being guided by the divine. You have to really tune into that energy. It's incredibly important. And if you are really able to do that, then you work constructively with the astrological energies. If we come on tomorrow, and I've done the Astrobite obviously for tomorrow, for Wednesday and for Thursday, and I've still got to do the ones beyond that. But tomorrow we have Venus, our planet of relationship, and love and self-worth, in Virgo, where we can be, if you remember, a little bit self-critical. We can start beating ourselves up and saying, I'm just not good enough, perfect enough. I'm not the best girlfriend, wife, partner, husband, friend, parent, child. Any of those permutations, we may be doing ourselves down a bit. Now, what's interesting tomorrow is that Venus makes a really helpful aspect to Uranus in Taurus, our planet of the unexpected. Well, let's use this energy in a positive way for Venus in Virgo and say that everything that anything that comes up tomorrow that is kind of unexpected and could actually be awesome. You could have amazing breakthroughs into personal self-developmental understanding and really begin to see the bigger picture and realize that if you stay on a frequency of being positive, of knowing the universe has your back, of knowing that everything that happens for you, to you, around you, is for your highest good and the highest good of others. You know, there's a phrase that I've seen on Facebook and I've heard other people use it. And it's a phrase that I use quite a lot nowadays, since I was able to train myself into being much more positive, and not just being much more positive, but actually being positive and seeing every obstacle and setback as a wonderful gift to help me grow. And this phrase, and you'll all know it is what it is. You know, that phrase, if you can say it and really feel it and really mean it, gives you the most wonderful sense of freedom. Because what it does is it puts you into an absolute win-win situation with everything in your life. If something goes wrong, if a relationship goes wrong, if your business goes wrong, it is what it is. So you just pick yourself up and you think, okay, the universe has other ideas for me, ideas that are trying to take me into a different direction. So I mustn't fight to stay with what was. I have to move on to what is. So it is what it is, takes you into this wonderful state of immense freedom. And it makes people that say it very dangerous, because people that are able to inhabit and live it is what it is actually don't give a damn, but in a very positive way. So there's something about this Venus in Virgo tomorrow, trining Uranus in Taurus, that is saying, you know what? Whatever surprises may come to you to do with, say, your self-worth or with a significant relationship, family, friends, partners, etc., will work out okay and for the highest good of you and the highest good of everybody else. Then by Wednesday, the moon has moved into its home sign of Cancer. Now, when it's in Cancer, it can relax. So when the moon is in Cancer, we too can relax. So this is Wednesday. And also, and I did the Astrobite for this today and completely forgot one of the most important astrological events that is happening on Wednesday. Mercury, our planet of communication, goes direct. I don't know how I missed it. I don't know how I forgot it. But anyway, it is what it is. And maybe I'm not supposed to say it on Wednesday, but what I am doing is saying it now. Mercury goes direct on Wednesday. But remember, it will be in what's known as its shadow for about 2 to 3 weeks, about 2.5 weeks, until it gets back into Virgo, when it will actually start to move towards being out of its shadow, and then we're into new territory. So all shall be well. And it is what it is. So then, excuse me, I better have some water. So, and I've also got some awesome words for the day in the Astrobites. So you must stick around for those. And I've got a great word for today with a story that goes with it for the week ahead. Thursday the 29th, the moon will still be in Cancer, and Venus leaves Virgo and goes into Libra, which will be a great relief for all of us because we will stop being so self-critical. So when it moves into Libra, it's back in a sign it rules. Remember, Libra is about relationship and relating and harmony and balance. So Venus also, of course, rules Taurus. So it represents luxury and abundance and, financial abundance. And so with Venus moving into Libra, it really is bringing in that sense of luxury and of things working out in a more positive way to do with relationships. So if any of you is or have been going through any difficulties with relationships, midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, they should start ironing out. So stop fretting about it now. Let it go. Get on with something else, because you know what it is. When we let go of something, it enables the divine to do and organize what it needs to do within that particular situation. And if we keep trying to interfere with that process, we delay all the good that can come to us. Just saying. So Thursday is a positive day. Then by Friday, the moon has moved into Leo. There are no significant aspects for that day, or for Saturday, when the moon is also in Leo. And then we get to, of course, Sunday, which is when I will be doing the live for the 1st of September for the month ahead. And from 1st of September onwards, Sunday the 1st, all the weekly shows will be on a Sunday. And I know people like Andy are going to be really relieved to hear that, because Monday's not going to fit with your schedule. So this will help. So this week, on the whole, I think gets better and better. And I want to say something at this point also about the energy in general, because over the next 2 to 3 years, we have some extraordinary energy going on in the cosmos. And this is because most of the outer planets are changing signs, and they are moving from feminine signs into masculine signs. Now, I will, because I've been asked, and I heard you, Diane, and I will do a video about this, a separate video. I might do it as a live, actually. I'll think about that. I'll just kind of get my head around it, do my research. But basically, between, what was I going to say? Between 2025 and 2027, these planets, Uranus, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, are all going to be moving into masculine signs. Now, what I find very interesting about this, and this is going to be the title of my video, is we have to have these outer planets moving into the divine masculine to wake up the divinity in the masculine, to enable and empower the divine feminine to be set free, to actually honor its divinity, so that there can be an equality between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And we don't have the misogyny, and we don't have the religious traditions and ways of being that segregate the masculine from the feminine and keep the feminine energy crushed and pushed down. So, you know, it's coming. Huge, huge change. And we ignore it at our cost. A little bit like when Jung talks about the shadow. We ignore our shadow at the cost of our human and psychic development, and it will trip us up. Our ego. We will become more ego-less and more divinity-centered over the next 2 to 3 years. That is what I am intuiting. This, in part, is going to come from Pluto being in Aquarius. Aquarius, the sign of the community at large, the sign of being able, the ability to tune into these higher frequencies. Uranus will be in Gemini, an air sign like Pluto in Aquarius. It'll be really kind of luxuriating and reveling in the air and the ideas and the innovations and the inventions that can come in. And I'm reminded of the British astrologer Steve Judd, who I heard in one of his videos talking the other day about embracing AI. And I think he's absolutely right. If we see it as something negative, then it kind of allows it to develop as something negative. Whereas if we embrace it and say, wow, bring it on. Let's just embrace it. Let's use it. Let's investigate it. And this is the kind of energy that is going to be around us over the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm just seeing what Simi is saying here. You rely on the shadow side to get me through some difficult situations upon certain and difficult things. That's fine, as long as it's not at the cost of your integrity and authenticity. As long as it is not keeping you in the dark, as long as you aren't acting from your ego and any narcissistic front that may be existing. And I know I've talked about this sometime. I am going to do a video about narcissism, and I will link it with astrology as well, because I think that could be very helpful and very interesting. Yes, Gem, it's going to get actually even busier in the sign of Gemini. And oh, hi, Woman of the Wood, good to see you. And Sag Sun Laurie, yes, you love change, probably a little too much. And a Woman of the Wood, change is good. My grandma always said, it's a bad wind that never changes. I love that. I love that. That is so true. So very true. So coming back to the week ahead, I have an interesting word for us because, and I have a couple of quotes because I thought this could be quite interesting, and I'm going to give you one of those quotes now. Then I'm going to do the word of the week plus a little story that belongs to it. So the astrology may still creep in here. So if you're only here for the astrology, don't rush away too quickly, because I always find a way to link these things to astrology. The first quote is by C.S. Lewis, and it's beautiful. It's, "You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." So that is the first thing I want you to embrace for this week, that you are never too old to set another goal. Think about me. I started this YouTube channel when I was 65 in 2020. And you are never too old to dream a new dream. Never. Look at the amount of people. You often see it. You'll see it on Facebook or, YouTube or whatever, news. Relationships that develop later in life between two 70-year-olds who maybe knew each other when they were young and then lost touch or came back or didn't, but maybe they were childhood sweethearts. And then they find themselves in a situation in their 70s where they meet up and they thought, or they think, how cool would this be? To actually have another dream a new dream, dream it into existence and be together. And a lot of these people get married. And I think that's just awesome. And I think, woo, hope for me yet. But listen, here is the word of the week. Thank you, Woman of the Wood. Yes, lovely time. Please like and subscribe. I'm really trying. I'm watching the analytics and they're just beginning to seesaw. They're getting into that kind of Libran space of balance. We're still a little bit down on the subscriber analytics. They come, they go, they come, they go. I don't know how it all works out. And I mean, I don't know about you lot, but I tend to subscribe to lots of things and I don't even know what I'm subscribed to. And I never bother to unsubscribe. But, some people seem to come in and go, oh, I hate this person. I am unsubscribing. Click. Anyway, on to my word for the week. And just let me have a look at the chatter. Tiffany, okay. You love storytelling and hope to start. Wow, I love that. That's really interesting because you'll see, because one of the astrobites this week, the word of the week, really fits in with storytelling. So don't miss that. Right, let me get around to the word of the week. It's judgment. Because what is it we find so difficult to not do? We find it so difficult to not judge. We judge ourselves probably 1,000 times a day, beating ourselves up, telling us we've done something really badly or stupidly, or who would want me? Why would anyone bother with me? And all those kind of that negative self-talk, which could have been around this morning with the full moon, the moon moving into Gemini conjunct widely Uranus. So that could have been around a bit this morning, this kind of overthinking of putting down ourselves in a negative kind of way. And the other thing we do is we make judgments about people and things and everything we see on the news. And all I'm suggesting is that it's really important to look for your evidence, because if you think about it, judgment belongs with the sign of Libra. Libra is about balance, and Sagittarius is also about truth and judgment and honesty. Jupiter could be loosely seen as representing judgment in some ways. And, you know, we're too quick, aren't we, to judge? We just see a few bits of information and we make a valued judgment about everything and then condemn whoever it is, including ourselves. And, you know, I'm just seeing what some of your chat is here. I don't know, you've got a private little chat going on, that one. But anyway, Simi says you've hit that one on the head. Judgment. Okay, right, I'll carry on. Let me tell you the story. Now, some of you may know this. It's a Chinese, very ancient Chinese story, so you will know it, but it's about the man and his horse. And I don't think I've actually told it in any of my videos before. Doesn't matter if I'm repeating myself. The fact is, I thought to tell it tonight, so it's meant to be told because it will resonate for someone. So once upon a time, there was a man who lived in a village and he didn't have very much money. But he did have a beautiful white horse. And he loved this horse, and this horse loved him. It was his best friend. The horse was just everything to him. It meant the world to him. One day, he woke up the next morning, and the horse had gone. He didn't know if it had run away or it had been stolen, but it had gone. Now, the people of the village all gathered and said, "Old man, you were really, really unlucky to lose that horse. I mean, you're poor and you don't have much money. You could have sold that horse and been able to feed your family for a year." And the old man says, "Who knows whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that my horse has gone? Let's just say that the horse has gone. And we don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It is what it is. It's back to that. It is what it is." Anyway, a little bit of time passed. The horse came back and brought, innumerable beautiful horses back with it. A whole kind of family of horses. It came back and wanted to stay with the man in the field that the man had prepared for it. And the people of the village came round again and went, "Oh my God, old man, you were so right. We're so sorry we judged you, because it's clear the horse was meant to go so that it would come back, and you're so lucky, and isn't this wonderful?" And the old man said again, "You know, who knows if it's a good thing or a bad thing that my horse is back and it's brought these other horses with it. All I know is it is what it is, and the horse has returned, and yes, I'm truly grateful my horse has returned, but we don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just that the horse has returned." And the people went, "You're mad. You're mad, old man. We've lost the plot with you now. You know, you could now sell all these horses and be rich. You would be the richest person in the village." But the man doesn't want to do that. One day, the man's son is out riding on one of the horses. He has an accident and he breaks his leg. And it means that the leg is broken so badly that he cannot walk properly. So the people come back again, don't they? And they say, oh, old man, you see what's happened? You thought it was great that the horses had come back, but now look what's happened. Your son has broken his leg and it's crippled him. That's terrible. You should have sold the horses while you could. And the old man says, there you go again, judging. Why are you always judging that what has happened is bad or good? Let's just say that it is what it is and it is what has happened. And, you know, my son has broken his leg and yes, that is terrible, but we don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing because it is what it is. And that's it. So the people go away again and they think, well, you're obviously very wise, but I'm not sure we fully get what you're talking about. So, but they just kind of acquiesce and think, okay, maybe he knows what he's talking about. And then they all gossip among themselves and say, stupid old man. Now look what's happened. He's got the horses, but he's got a son who can't ride them. They can't work them. They can't do anything with them. You know, how crazy is that? He should sell the horses and make lots of money to look after his son. But of course he doesn't. Anyway, one day the country goes to war with a neighboring country. And all the sons of all the people in the village get called up and they have to go to war and they may not come back. The man's son is not able to join the army because he's crippled and he's unable to do anything for the army. Once again, the people come to the man's house and they go, oh, old man, you are so wise. Now we see. Now we really, really understand. Now we really see. Because of this, our sons have gone to war and may never come back. And you will keep your son. And at least you will have him even if he's crippled. And what are we going to do? And the old man, he kind of, you know, looks like I'm looking now and says, people, why do you continue to judge? Because we do not know if it's a good thing or a bad thing if your sons have gone to war to the neighboring country and my son can't. Because it is what it is and we really don't know. And so it goes on. And I think it's a wonderful story to explain the kind of way we get into this judging. And it's a good story to remind ourselves that we can't judge. We can't possibly know whether things that happen to us that are not good or appear not good, whether that's correct or not. Likewise, things that happen to us that are bad may turn out to be good. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it very quickly, very briefly. When I broke my ankle 7 years ago, it prevented me relocating to the United Kingdom because I realized when I broke it that that couldn't possibly happen for at least a year, because I knew, because I'd already broken the leg once before anyway, that it takes a long time to recover from breaks to limbs. And luckily, I was in a state where I was able to say, okay, then I guess the divine doesn't want me to return to the UK. Who knows if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it is. And so I was able, because of that, I found this beautiful apartment to live in, which is where I am now. And this is where I am. And will I stay here? Will I always be here? Who knows? It is what it is. And who knows if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it is just what it is. And so, if I had gone back to the United Kingdom at that time, maybe it would have been good for me, or maybe it wouldn't. Maybe I wouldn't have ever started this YouTube channel. Maybe I wouldn't have done the things that I've done here. So I tell you these stories to just underline this word of the week, judgment, and how important it is for us to really practice non-judgment all the time, to catch ourselves, to bring it into our conscious awareness. This is the domain of Libra. We will be moving into Libra season soon. We're in Virgo season now, pedantic, picky, critical, but tidy. Libra has balance and aestheticism. And of course, judgment would, in one sense, also come under the domain of Capricorn and rules, courthouses, anything like that, where Saturn lays down the law. And of course, Saturn at the moment is in Pisces, retrograde, goes direct a little bit later in the year, and it will then start moving towards its conjunction with Neptune, which we get a taste of next year, and then fully in 2026. I tell you, the next 2 to 3 years are awesome. So I'm going to start winding this down and bring this to a close. Thank you so much for joining me for this weekly Soul Fam show and connection with all of you. Remember the word of the week, judgment. Remember the man and his horse. And here's the closing saying. So this saying is by somebody called Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N. And I think this is quite cool. Your life does not get better by chance. Your life gets better by change. That is why astrology is such a wonderful tool. It empowers you. Once you know your chart, it empowers you to navigate these cosmic alignments as they come thick and fast at the moment, so that we use the energy in a wonderfully kind of co-creating way with the divine. So remember that your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. There's also that thing I see sometimes on Facebook, if you want to move, move. You're not a tree. And it's true. We have to take action sometimes. We have to be proactive. When we get caught in that spiral of negative thinking, it's about lifting ourselves back up out of that into manifesting and doing something proactive. It's the procrastination that comes from the inability to kind of move ourselves because we're putting negative judgments on ourselves that blocks us and holds us back. So don't judge yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. Be kind to yourself this week. Listen to the Astrobites. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And, you are all absolutely friggin' awesome. I'm just having a look at some of your chat before I end stream. All have a wonderful day and week. Hi, Shirley Murray. Yeah, much love to you too, my love. Parry, you're here. Lovely to see you here. Blessings to you. Blessings to all of you. And oh, thank you, woman of the wood. Do you know what? As I've said before, this is my passion. I am so excited every time I do a live and every time I record a video. And it's the excitement that we have to feel for everything in our lives that's important to us. If we don't feel that excitement, then maybe it's the divine telling us we're going in the wrong direction. So think about that next time. When a new option comes up, an opportunity to change or to go somewhere different, does it excite you? What excites you? That's going to have to be a word of the day or a word of the week. So anyway, listen, Soul Fam, I'm going to end stream. I'm going to go and have some supper. And I love you all. Mwah, loads. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Remember, it's going to be Sunday from next week, September the 1st, the overview for the month of September. And remember, Mercury goes direct on whichever day of the week I told you it goes direct, Wednesday. So only actually just after tomorrow. So we're nearly there. Mercury direct, and maybe everything will start to settle down. So have a wonderful week. I just really love you all. You're awesome. See you soon. Bye for now. Bye, guys.